Hello, good evening. Hello, baseball fans. Hello, out of the park fans. Hello, fantastic community. How is everybody doing this evening? I'm very happy to see y'all. I am Rich Grisham, and we are here for the Big Rich Machine, and we are here with my co pilot, my good friend, and an absolute out of the park baseball genius, Mr. Alex Murray. AZ Axel, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, Rich. It's been a long day. I may have overplanned for this episode, so we'll see how much we can get through.
There's no such thing as over planning, my friend. No such thing.
Well, you've seen my notes, so you know how much I've planned. So,
I love it. That's what makes this whole thing happen, right? That's what makes this whole thing happen. I've
that is
had a
true.
bunch of people reach out to me, happy with the series, happy with what we're doing, which is just going very methodically through building a franchise, right? Like that's what we're doing. We are picking up the 2019 Cincinnati Reds, and in the off season that just happened, right? This literally is the well, not anymore because of the changes that we made, but this is the off season that we just got past the 2019 off season, and here we are, and we're doing our thing. And when I say we, I mean I'm pressing the buttons. You're coming up with the strategy, the planning, and I think we make a good team.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of things to cover this stream. We're still technically in off season. We still have a lot of things we need to look at and a lot of things we need to talk about. So there's going to be actually quite a good amount of audience participation in terms of whether or not we mull over ideas on stream. So for anyone watching this on the YouTube or the archives, my apologies. We already made the decisions, but yeah, there's going to be a lot of decision making done tonight. So that's going to be fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So hello to all of our regular listeners out there, as well as doing what we're doing tonight. It wouldn't be a stream of mine, I think, if we didn't do some perfect point giveaways. So we're definitely going to make some perfect points available to you, very likely through a random drawing, as we have done in the past. So look forward to that as well. All right, so let's see. Let's quickly recap what we've done. What we've done is we have, as I mentioned, picked up the Cincinnati Reds at the 2019 offseason. Now, because of where we started, it actually started at the postseason, so we simulated the postseason, and then we hit some big decisions pretty quickly with some arbitration. Then we made a giant trade, and then we readjusted our 40-man roster, and we also completely redid our organization from a manager and pitching coach and hitting coach standpoint, from all the way from the big leagues all the way down to the lowest of the low A leagues as well. So I think that summarizes what we've done. Did I miss anything important, Alex?
No, that sounds about right. Just a word of advice for users that are new into this and trying to make their own franchise. And I know we had two people on the YouTube first episode comment about how they just got started with brand new ones because of the inspiration from our episode.
Awesome.
And understanding that the importance of having selected personnel all the way down into your minors is one thing that a lot of users overlook and don't want to mess with because it takes a lot of time. I mean, it took us an entire episode to do that. But it's so vitally important to make sure that you have the best potential, player development coaching staff as you get down into your system, because those are where the development happens, and it needs to be good there. Otherwise, it doesn't matter who you have at the top if you never get anyone developed into a 4 or 5-star prospect.
Excellent. Totally agree. Okay. So that is a little bit of a recap. We've got a lot of potential options, but where I think we wanted to start was looking at our strengths and weaknesses, right? I
Yes.
mean that's really what we want to look at next.
Yeah, we want to go ahead and take a look at where the team is right now, especially after our big trade. We need to identify our strengths and our weaknesses, and then try to mull over how we're going to fill those, which is what we'll do last, unfortunately. There are a couple things we want to also cover before we get to that step. Some are fast, and some are going to take a little bit of thinking. But we do want to look over, where weaknesses are for the team, where we're going to need to fill a spot or make a solution or a final decision about a person or a starter in some cases. So there's some stuff we need to do about that.
Well, why don't we get started? What do you say?
Let's get started. Oh, yeah.
All right. So here we are. It is November 16th, 2019. Remember way back then, Alex? Remember the long
a couple weeks
ago
after my birthday?
Yeah. We were so young and so innocent back then.
Oh. I didn't have bones cracking all over the place every morning. Oh.
So here we are, November 16th. Where should we start when we talk about looking at our strengths and weaknesses? Where do we go?
Well, we ended last week's stream on the trade proposal from the Yankees, and that identified one weakness right off the bat. Because we traded away Jesse Winker, we have a very big, blaring hole out in right field that nobody is filling right now. So let's first start by going back to our graphical depth chart and looking at that page again, and just, again, reminding ourselves kind of where these holes are and what needs to be filled. So right field is actually blank, as you can see on the screen. It is
literally a hole. Like there's nobody there.
There's literally no one there. So
wow.
In the terms of was it Billy Bean in the Moneyball game or Moneyball movie? If a ball rolls to first to that position, nobody's going to be there to pick the ball up. So we got to fill that first.
Is a right fielder really that important? I mean, can you get by with that one?
Maybe. I don't know. They do the whole entire 5 infielder shift thing now with the 2 outfielders. So
that's right.
You technically could.
That's right.
But I don't think in our ballpark, I don't think that's a really good idea. So maybe we should fill it.
Okay, I agree with that.
So we also need to think about other positions that are on our list, and a couple of them are going to be experimental ideas more so than, hey, let's just get rid of this person, or let's think about somebody else. Like, for example, Nick Senzel at second base. There is I would say a 75% chance that he actually doesn't start at second base next year, because his ability to play the outfield is actually better for us than his ability to play second base.
Really?
Yes.
And he's a 4-star. Like, this is our guy. Like, this is one of our top franchise.
Yeah, this is one of our top prospects. I think he's number 8 in MLB right now.
Wow.
By the game standards. So he's top tier. But if you go to his page, his defense at second base is actually subpar. It's actually a little weak, if I remember correctly.
He's a 40.
He is a 40, but I don't remember what his error arm. Yeah, it's that turn double play. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's low.
So
that's for sure.
He can get better than 40 if he plays more time at second base. But if you go to his ratings page, his outfield ability is on par with some of our actual outfielders. So if we taught him how to play left field, he would actually be a really good left fielder. And his arm being at 60 for outfield is actually a really good example of how he could probably be the best right fielder we have on the team if we train him to play right field.
Okay, so that begs the question, how do you train him to play right field? Do you just put him out there, or is there something else that we can do?
You have to just put him out there. Unfortunately, there's no way to tell a coach to teach him how to play a position. You can't have Ron Washington just come out and train him how to play a new position. Although we could hire Ron Washington, but that's another question. Unfortunately, the best way to teach someone how to play that position is actually to put them in that position during spring training. They'll earn about 40 to 50 ability to play a position if they're going to be good at it. So they'll become average if you have them go through spring training in that position. And you can very quickly teach somebody a new position in, I would say, about less than a year.
Okay.
They'll become almost fully skilled at that new position. And that first year, the defense is going to be questionable, but it's actually worth it. And the only other option you really have to be able to teach someone a new position is to have it be taught to them in their minor league time.
Right.
Otherwise, you really don't want to teach them a new position at the major league level unless it's someone like Nick Senzel and you have a blatantly open right field, and he's actually the best right fielder on the team if you train him. So he's got a little bit of center field training right now. I wouldn't put him in center field. We have Jankowski anyways. and Trammell on the way. So I don't think center field's a great option. But in lieu of that information as well, we also have, of course, Irvin, who is still a left fielder, a very good left fielder too, and also Trammell, who's actually he's not an only, but he's an actually majorly skilled left fielder. He's not as good of a center fielder as we'd hope he'd be. So to be honest, we really have nobody right now who can play right field, maybe besides Jankowski.
Okay. So
the question comes down, and this is where it's going to come down to you, Rich, unfortunately.
Yep.
You'll have to make some final decisions.
What do you mean, unfortunately? Did you just say unfortunately? I'm supposed to be a strength of this operation.
Oh, that's right. The strength of the team is Rich and his managerial GMing skills.
Well, no, really, the strength is in hiring the right people in the baseball positions, which is you, my friend.
That's true. You hire the right people, and then the winning results come from that.
Exactly right.
True.
Exactly right.
So the question is, do we move Senzel to the outfield and then try to fill the second base position, which would be a ton easier to fill than an outfielder?
I think the short-term answer to that is yes.
Okay.
And when I say short-term, I mean, is there a time where we should, before making that decision, go look at perhaps some trade offers that might be hanging out there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
This is just for us to start thinking about ideas, not to you're right. We shouldn't be making decisions right now. This is just for us to think about these and mull over them and realize that, look, he is a very good right fielder. If we train him that position, it would take away our need for a right fielder. However, it would open up the need for a second baseman.
That's right.
But it's much easier to replace a second baseman than it is to replace a right fielder, because our options in free agency are like a combination. Whoops.
What's up?
Oh, I think I lost you for a second there. Never mind, I'm back.
Nope. Yep, you're back.
Our options in free agency for right fielders are very, very weak. You've got people such as it's Puig, Peralta if he's released or if he's not arbitrationed or extended.
Mm-hmm.
Castellanos is another option for right field.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pence is another option in right field. But
okay.
you really don't want any of those.
No, I mean, I'm with you. I'm fine with moving Nick Senzel, who is one of the top prospects on the team. Moving him to right field, training him over the course of a year to where in a year and a half or two, he's as good as anybody else. And he also turns into what he can turn into, which is a solid contact, all around quality player who can steal a base and who can be smart and who can contribute. Like that's what his potential is. So I am fine with making that decision.
Yeah, and if my memory suits me well, most people believe he'll become a gap power hitter. Not so much power. He'll lose some of that power, I think. Mm-hmm. But his gap power is supposed to be like 60 or 70 rated by most scouts. So that's where we're hoping he develops. Is some kind of like a number two hitter in our system.
Yep.
Which would be pretty good for us, to be honest.
Absolutely. I agree.
Okay. So let's head back to that graphic chart real fast. Mm-hmm. So that is one area that we can either fill by looking inside our own organization or go outside, and that's the right field place.
Yep.
We also need to just discuss the starting pitchers.
Okay.
And I realize
Let's talk
that
about them.
I just like traded.
We don't have many of them, but I'd like the ones that we have.
Actually, we do have a lot of starting pitchers. We actually have really good depth for the Reds right now. We have Molly, Sims, and Reed, who are all on the verge of becoming major league starters if they aren't already. And they should all be on the system right now, if I remember correctly. I see Molly, Sims. I don't see Reed, unfortunately. I think he's in AAA right now. But he's an option for us to look at in spring training, and we'll definitely keep an eye on him because he is one of the Reds' top prospects right now.
And not to mention Gray, Castillo, and Discofani, right, as your 1, 2,
absolutely.
3. You can do a lot worse than that. That's a good place to start.
We could do a lot worse. Oh, yeah. And that's even understanding the idea that we don't put Alex Reyes, Genesis Cabrera, Dakota Hudson, or even, what's the last guy again? Ryan Helsley in the starting rotation position. We have 4 people we just got from St. Louis.
That's exactly right, and I like all of them.
Yeah. So there's options for us to have a lot of depth in our starting rotation world right now. So there's also options for us to trade some of those starting pitchers away if we were enticed with some kind of a really nice deal. But just understanding that we have depth. We have a lot of starting pitching depth. We got a lot of young arms. I'm pretty sure Molly's like 25. I think Simpson's like 23.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure Reed is like 21 right now. So you've got a lot of young starting pitchers who are just coming into the big leagues, and we can do with them as we would like. Now, there is one thing we're missing. We don't have a left-handed starting pitcher anymore.
Right.
Because we got rid of Alex Wood.
Okay.
And that would have been our only left-handed starting pitcher, and to be honest, I really wouldn't have wanted Alex Wood as our only left-handed starting pitcher. I would not have felt comfortable with that personally.
We actually
so that
only
might
have
be
one lefty even between the entire pitching staff. Not only no lefty starters, we only got one lefty in the bullpen.
I think we've got 2. I think Garrett and Genesis Cabrera. I think Cabrera's a lefty.
He's just not showing up on the bullpen depth chart. But
oh, okay.
You are correct. That
yeah. So he could be a left-handed starter, but he has got like no control, if I remember correctly. So he needs to build up his control first before we'd ever think about having him become a starter. So that's one of the areas we can look at in replacing somebody or adding somebody would be a left-handed starter. Now, the Reds in real life, and I think this was just yesterday, signed Wade Miley. That was their answer to their left-handed issue.
That's okay. I did see that come across. I didn't realize he was a lefty. Okay.
Yeah. Wade Miley's a lefty. If I remember correctly, he's a lefty at least. From my years of having him here on the D-backs, I thought he was a lefty.
I am sure you're right. I am not questioning that statement.
I would have thought so. But anywho, we have options for lefties, and that would be Bumgarner is going to be a free agent. Let's look at picking up Bumgarner.
Baby, that would be awesome.
And we have the money for it, too. There's also Ryu. We also have Ryu as a free agent this year. There's also Hamels. We could look at picking up Cole Hamels. He would probably be the veteran leader at that point, but I would personally take Bumgarner over Hamels. We also have Keuchel. Dallas Keuchel's also available. So there are some ways that we could splurge a little and grab a good starting pitcher just to even more so solidify our starting rotation.
So I like it and hate it at the same time, and I'll tell you exactly why. Who wouldn't love having a great left-handed starting pitcher at the top of their lineup with any of the names that you just said, right? Like in various order. I mean, I'll take Mad Bum any day.
Oh, yeah.
Any day. Ryu, I was look, would I be happy with him? Absolutely would be. Not as happy as Bumgarner. The other guy whose name just escapes me that you mentioned, Hamels, Cole Hamels.
Yeah.
I've seen Cole Hamels firsthand when he was a World Series champion that season, right? I'm a big fan of Cole Hamels. So in that order, I would be delighted with either of those guys. I'm also incredibly scared of spending a lot of money for a lot of years for a single pitcher because they all break down.
Absolutely. Yep. That is the one risk you take. And that's what a lot of teams are going through right now in real life.
I'm not going to do it. I'm just saying I'm saying I won't do it without understanding the risk that I'm taking and accepting it and preparing to deal with, the negative.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And if we put ourselves in a position where we overpay somebody and then we're stuck with them for years and they don't perform, we would destroy the team right now for years to come if we make a bad move.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunately not helping the pressure on you, but I'm just saying that is what happens. If you make one bad signing right now in a weak free agency, it could take away your ability to sign somebody next year, which would have been a much better option. So those are some things that will be that's thankfully something we'll address at free agency. So we don't have to worry about that for right now.
Okay.
But again, just back of the mind, think about, do we want to make a move on one of these left-handed pitchers so we have a lefty specialist starter and have that as an option?
In In the chat, Jaron is saying we should check the waiver wire first for a lefty.
Absolutely, we should check waiver wires. Now, we'll want to check waiver wires truly before and after salary arbitration, because that's when we're going to start to see a lot of people making roster moves. But yeah, we'll be trying to snatch somebody from waivers or the Rule 5 draft. We'll try to be as I don't want to call it dumpster diving, but we'll try to be as opportunistic as possible.
Well, look, if I'm going to go buy one of the top free agents, I'm going to have to do a little dumpster diving. I'm fine with that.
That's true. Although dumpster diving, what I would refer to that as for how I play the game, is more so finding diamonds in the rough.
Absolutely.
You try to find people that nobody else wants. They're actually not that bad, and most likely than not, they'll sign for what I call what are actually basically minor league contracts, because at this point, they just want to play. And you give them a shot, and that's all you really need to do for them. But we'll do that a little bit later. So, we talked about starting pitchers. I want to confirm our catcher plans.
Okay.
We have two decently good catchers in Casali and Barnhart.
Okay.
Casali is excellent trade bait, though. Excellent prime trade bait. Mostly because he's still somewhat young. He's not a bad defender. He's actually pretty good, if I remember correctly.
He is, yes.
But we have a better defender in Barnhart. So Casali's kind of the odd man out at this point.
Okay.
Which gives us an interesting opportunity. Oh, he's not young. My apologies. He's 31.
I was
Never
going to say
mind.
he's 31. I mean, if you think 31's young, I wasn't going to say no.
31 years young is not as young as I thought it was.
But, I mean, that's also not, we're not talking Yadier Molina there here either, right? He can play.
True.
He's going to be able to play for a bit,
That's very true. Yeah, he's still someone that we could keep as a backup, and he would do fantastic for us. But he's someone that we want to think about as trade bait. He's also arbitration right now.
Okay.
Which is weird to say for a 31-year-old, but he just hasn't had as much time in the big leagues. So he is technically, I think, on his last year of arbitration.
Right.
We may not want to offer him arbitration and instead look at trading him.
Okay.
So there are options with him.
Okay.
We also need to take a look at our setup and bullpen. We brought on a couple of really good pitchers. We have Cabrera, Helsley, we have Lorenzen. Technically, we've got a couple of pitchers already on the team from the past year that have had good times in the bullpen. But, we have technically Iglesias as our setup right now, I believe. And we have somebody else.
Lorenzen is our setup. Iglesias is our closer at the moment.
Oh, we haven't gotten Carlos Martinez as our closer yet.
Correct. We have not.
Okay. We'll want to go ahead and have the coach optimize that pitching rotation really fast. Just the staff, if possible, so we can see what it would look like updated with these Cardinal players.
I have to ask the bench coach for the staff or the bullpen.
I would do the staff. That'll do everybody.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that changed a lot. So now our rotation is Gray, Castillo, I have a bad...
Desclafani, I think is how he pronounces
exactly
it.
Right. Okay, I'll go with that. Molly and Hudson.
Okay, that's good.
And
Hudson is normally the fifth person on the list. He's
He 16
interesting.
Games.
He's really interesting. Yeah, but he's rated so poorly for the game. I don't even know why. He wins 16 games, has a 3.35 ERA, had a phenomenal rookie season, and he's given a 2.5-star rating, which I'm not sure I agree with that, unfortunately.
And these are based on his live stats, not in-game performance.
These are based on the 2019 results.
The live stats, right, exactly.
Yeah. So it's interesting why they gave him that rating, but at the same time, if he was rated higher, we wouldn't have gotten him. So...
Oh, by the way, Leo, Yadier Molina is one of the all-time greats. My point is is he 38, 40 years old and still playing, right?
He's an Iron Man.
He's very, for a catcher especially that. But no, you're not. Leo's reminding me that there are multiple Cardinals fans in the room. I'm a big Yachty fan. That was said merely pointing out that he was much older than 31. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. The reverence of he's still catching.
He's great. He's a Hall of Famer, right? I mean, he's a no doubt Hall of Famer, right?
Yeah, you can lower the pitchforks. You can lower them. We already pilfered from the Cardinals. We already
Yeah.
gave them all the due respect.
Good point. Good
I mean,
point.
I will mention, however, that in the multiple simulations I've run, the Cardinals always finish dead last after we do that trade because we bombard them with bad starting pitchers. So, yeah.
All right.
So our trade actually works out really well in most of my simulations. So that's good. Okay. So we need to think about setup people. Are we going to be able to trust people like Lorenzen and Iglesias as setup men? Now, Iglesias I can understand. Lorenzen, not so much. So there's a chance in the off season or through a trade we may look at picking up a couple of relief pitchers, people that we can trust to be able to come in a 7th or 8th inning. So we'll have to see.
Okay.
Personally, I don't trust Lorenzen. It's hard with two-way players because it always feels like as if they're good at one or the other in a season and they're never good at both. Ohtani is really hard to find in a two-way player. And I just don't know if I can trust Lorenzen in any position where he has high leverage.
Okay. I have no reason to argue with that. You sound like you know what you're talking about.
A little bit, yes, just a little bit. Okay, so those are kind of the main areas we need to improve on and solidify. Is
Good.
basically who are our starting five? Do we want to get rid of some starting pitchers because they'll become AAA or quad A players that just basically bounce between the majors and minors? Do we want to acquire any more relief pitchers? Do we want to look at getting some that are better, especially for our setup position? Carlos Martinez is a great closer. We could, however, look at trading Carlos Martinez. I know that would be kind of weird to deal for him and then deal him away, but that is an option. He is expensive, and we can use his trade baitness as well to be able to do a big deal down the road if we so choose to do that. That's one option.
Okay.
But then catcher plans. Do we want to have Casali on the team, or do we want to make him our trade bait person? And then if we get rid of him, who are we going to be replacing our backup with? We need to find somebody who can basically be the second catcher on the team behind Barnhart.
So my inclination with the catchers is if I got two better than functional catchers on my team already, I think catching is very important. I think out of the park baseball values catching. I say let's keep them both as they are. Unless this guy in arbitration wants an astounding sum of money, I'm leaning towards keeping both the catchers. But I'm willing to listen and be influenced by you.
All right.
Okay, as well as the chat.
Yes, because there are a couple of deals that we can look at doing. And I think one of them may involve Casali as an option. Okay. So we'll have to see about that.
Okay.
I think that's pretty much it. The only other two options is understanding how set we are on our third base and first base positions. Are we dead set on keeping Suarez and Votto long term? And the only reason I say that is because Votto is getting old. He's not as good of a hitter. He's a great captain and a great person on the team. I would give him a 25% chance of him being shipped out. I don't think we could even trade him. I think he would be something else. But
he's beloved and he produces. And again, sort of like how I feel about the catchers, right? That's not an obvious problem. So I'm not looking to change Joey Votto in the next couple of years.
Okay. Do we want to look at getting prospects around for when he retires or gets to the point where he's not worth playing?
I mean, it's hard to say no when you put it that way.
Yeah. The problem is that, it's hard to tell how quickly Votto will age and start to become worse and worse of a hitter. He's already started in the game, but do we want to make that a priority now, or do we want to wait until it's an emergency situation and he costs us a lot of money because he costs us a pretty penny?
Well, I'm hoping, for next year, right? My hope is that we can at least keep him for next year.
Okay.
Because, again, what you mentioned, personality, captain, beloved, if I'm unless I'm chasing a pennant next year or am going to lose 110 games next year, if I'm in either of those situations, I'm trading him. But if I'm in year one of a 3 to 4 year plan, I don't want to trade Joey Votto if I don't have to.
Agreed. What about Suarez? How set are you on Suarez?
I have no feelings about Suarez other than I love those 3.5 silver stars. It
Mm-hmm.
makes me happy. And I love the fact that he's just hitting home runs all over the major leagues. I love those
Okay.
two things. So again, I look at that position and I think to myself, move on, because I got one of the best in the business right there. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. I mean, there is an option. There
But could
is
we get a lot for him? Right? Of course we could. Right? We could get a king's ransom for him. So I mean, like, I'm not. If somebody wants to offer me,
yeah,
somebody wants to offer me Mike Trout. Okay, well, let's talk. I'm not going to dismiss it out of hand. But as I look at the team, I'm not putting him on the list. Like, I'm happy having that guy as my third baseman for the next 4 to 5 years if I can make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the only thing that scares me is his contact and his defense. They're average is the problem. In my opinion, they're average.
You're right.
So,
they are.
That's a little scary. If it ever goes down too low, he's not worth playing. He turns into, who would that have been? Adam Duvall is what he'll turn into, unfortunately. And Duvall even has a good fielding arm, so he's even more playable in left field. But yes, there is an alternative universe where we may look at trading Suarez to the Dodgers for a couple of their top tier prospects. That is an option.
Okay.
So
I am not saying no, but I'm saying, like, as we're looking at strengths and weaknesses, I'm looking at that third base. I'm looking at first base. I'm saying, okay, I got guys that can play right now. I got a guy in Votto that's beloved by the fans. And, there's other areas where I could go and fix. But again, if something comes up, I am here and I'm willing to listen and I'm excited.
Okay, good. That's all that I want from you. It's just to be able to hear me out and tell me if I'm way off base or something like that.
I'm with you.
Okay, so let's head back to the arbitration list for a quick second so we can also examine that. So we also understand what Casali's going for and a couple of the other players we need to look at doing. That'll be in the MLB menu.
There it is. Okay.
So we need to take a look at just a couple more players that we want to highlight as people we need to kind of make a move with now before arbitration hits us. And the first one, I'm just going to go right down the list at this point, and that's Matt Bowman. The guy had a 0.5 WAR.
What about DeSclafani?
DeSclafani's fine. At $2.5 million, he's perfectly fine for a number 3, number 4 starter. That's fantastic.
So I don't need.
So we can keep him the way he is. I'm just going to talk about some people that we might look at trading.
Gotcha.
Because they either aren't good enough, they won't ever become good enough, or they're gonna start costing us too much money and they're just not worth it.
Got it.
So Bowman is one guy we can get rid of, even though he's 28 and he had a decent season with the 3.66 ERA. He only did 32 innings of work. He's not somebody I would see on a playoff roster, to be honest. He would be the long relief person at that point. We can do better than him, so I wouldn't withdraw an offer from him, but he's someone that if we saw him as a trade bait player that finishes a trade, I would throw him in the deal for free because he's not important enough for me to put a lot of value on his personage.
All right. So
and then
we just leave that as it is, right?
So leave that one as it is for right now.
Yep.
We're just going to talk about players so that way people who are watching can kind of understand my logic a little bit about how I view these people and what I would plan on doing. So Bowman, I would add him on to a trade that's like borderline acceptable by another GM, and they're like, well, give me one more person. Bowman works, and I would just throw him onto a deal for free because I can find a 2.5-star relief pitcher in AAA in a year, and that's not a problem. I could probably grab a 2.5-star pitcher on the Rule 5 draft. That's easy peasy.
Okay.
Brandon Finnegan, another person, same situation. Pretty much, if we can have him added to a deal or something, that'd be great. If not, he's probably just going to go to free agency because he's only 1 star and he's really not worth that much. And I think he was injured last year for most of the year. So
stats, injured list.
So he's not really worth anything to anybody unless someone is like, oh, I'll take a shot on him. Maybe the Royals would pick him up for a change or something like that. I don't know. Lorenzen's fine. He's expensive for a two-way player that I don't have a whole lot of faith in, but if he develops, he could be an interesting, good relief pitcher while also filling an outfield need. So Lorenzen's fine at 2.2. Casali is the first person that I instantly look at and go, trade bait. Now, that 0.1 WAR is a little bit misleading because, unfortunately, the live start doesn't include defensive WAR included on that, so that WAR is probably a little bit higher in real life. In fact, I'll look it up real fast just to make sure I'm looking at this correctly. Let's see. But his $1.8 million is not a lot for a backup pitcher or catcher, but we could easily get a replacement catcher with good fielding. That's not hard to do. So there's an option where, again, we have him as trade bait. Because a lot of teams have already asked about him, including the Yankees. They would have given us, I think it was Stanton, without any money retained, which is a big no-no. For, I think it was Casali and one other person. So there's a chance that someone would offer us a lot for Casali just because he's a good, decent backup catcher. Derek Dietrich is the first person that we absolutely must get rid of. If he's looking anywhere close to the $7 million that the game thinks he's going to be, counter-offered by us, he's not worth even $2 million.
No, I'm going to hit that withdraw button right now.
Yeah, we can withdraw that for right now, but he is someone that we're definitely going to be trading. Like that's.
So I don't want to hit withdraw.
That's a guarantee. He'll become a free agent once the arbitration is hit. Once we hit the arbitration hearings. But for now, he is ours until arbitration hearing happens. So if we trade him, someone else can try to arbitration him instead. We could always add another $7 million back on and resubmit it if we had to. So you don't have to worry about, taking it off and then you've lost him forever. He's a free agent immediately.
Okay. But he's trade bait, like to your point. A 30-year-old first baseman with a
he's got power, but that's about it.
Yeah. He could have a much better year the last couple of years before that, average and OBP wise at least. Actually, no.
Yeah.
OBP. Just a terrible batting average. He just must have gone all or nothing.
Yeah, he is one of those big muscles, big swinger dudes where it's kind of like, all right, dude, you're pretty much Dan Uggla, which is not good. Just not good. Peraza is not the same way, but he is another person that we want to use as trade bait. He's a little expensive, and he's definitely not going to be starting with us looking to have Iglesias be signed to an extended contract. So Peraza is someone that we definitely need to trade. In fact, it wouldn't be a bad idea to shop him around during this stream and see what people give us. Jankowski stays. His $1.3 million is a huge blessing. Excuse me. And he's perfectly fine to play center field. And Jankowski stays, as far as I'm aware. He's not going nowhere. So, you're already shopping him. All right, let's see what we can get.
Yeah. So, I just wanted it. I didn't realize that it would go right there right away. But
it'll go right to it if you want to. Now there is an option where we shop Peraza and Casali and look at stuff we can get back. Let me make sure.
Even before we do that, right? Should I go to our inbox and even look at the? Well, actually, no. Let's go back to where we were. Let's finish this conversation, and then we'll move to the inbox with the trade offer and the other things going on.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Yeah. So otherwise, Schebler is potentially trade baitable. He could also fill up our positions of outfield as a backup role, which wouldn't be a problem. I could absolutely see that happen too. So there's definitely options to look at keeping Schebler in terms of just having him be a backup player.
Okay.
If he doesn't develop into anything really good, he's probably somebody that we just ditch in the long run.
Yeah.
Just because he's not really someone that I would say starts. So not something I'm interested in, to be honest.
Right.
Let me think. What's the first thing we should do? So the first thing we should probably actually do is offer Iglesias the extended contract. We should go ahead and give him his extension if we can.
Okay. Now, do you mean the $15 million qualifying offer?
No, no. We're going to actually right-click on his name and offer him an extension.
Okay. Because this is the guy in the very first stream that we decided was the guy.
This was going to be our shortstop. Oh, nice. He actually has his reduced contract. So we can get away with giving him a $6 million 5-year contract. So if you go ahead and hit the use for all button on the right side of that 2020 season, it'll then make every single season $6 million, and we should be able to ask for a response, and he should accept that.
Okay, I'm going to do it. He looks like he's in a very good mood, and he likes it.
Good. $6 million for a Gold Glove shortstop with adequate on-base percentage to be a starter. At $6 million, that's a steal. I mean, you're talking about other people who could qualify for the same type of quality player as him, as being like Nick Ahmed. There's not a lot of people who have the high on base. Andrelton Simmons is the only other person that comes to mind that's comparable to Iglesias, and he got, what was it, like a $10 million contract, I believe. He's being paid a ton, so I will take $6 million for Iglesias. That is easy peasy.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and submit the offer.
Just go for it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Simmons got $15 million, a 2-year, $30 million offer from the Angels. So, yeah, we definitely are beating that contract at least.
Okay, I like it.
Okay, so we've got that offer in.
Yep, offer's in.
Perfect. Okay, so yeah, that's a 5-year, $30 million, and there is a player option, I believe, at the end of that, so he can turn down the last year if he wants to. I don't think he will, because he's not really going to develop into something more than what he is right now. But for $6 million, that's just fine the way he is right now. So that's perfectly fine.
Fabulous.
Okay. We also need to actually do something really fast. You can see all those pending minor league free agents down below. Those are people like Juan Guitarro, Luis San Gonzalez. We need to offer them an extension because they're too old to be automatically re-signed. And unless there's somebody on that list that we absolutely dislike, we need to sign them all. And there's a quick way to do that.
Let's hear it.
If you go to your, go to the Reds and you go to front office and you go to upcoming free agents.
Yep.
On the right side, there's an actions button. And if you click on that actions button, you can offer all of your minor league free agents, minor league contract extensions in one fell swoop.
Oh my gosh.
Which is so much faster than doing them each individually.
I was 9 seconds away from doing a lot of right-clicking, and you're telling me all I have to do is that.
That is the best way to do it.
I'm going to hit this button right now, okay?
Go for it.
All right, the button has been pressed. 29 players have received a minor league contract extension offer. 29.
Now, there will be a couple of players, Ian Kroll, Ryan Larvenway.
Yep.
That's a weird name.
He's going to be our backup catcher because you are bound and determined to trade away our other backup catcher, which I am fine with. By the way.
Well, the problem is he's not going to sign that minor league extension.
Right.
Because he is, unfortunately, I believe, on our 40-man roster, and therefore he wants a major league contract. So, unfortunately, him and Juan Guitarro, Kevin... is that Shackerfeld or something like that? Whoever the closer is below him as well. Those people will not sign with us unless we offer them a major league contract.
Now, if we're going to trade Casale, we should probably do that, right?
Yes. If we're going to trade Casale, we may offer him a contract. Otherwise, the alternative is to trade Casale for a couple of people and then trade a couple more people for a better backup catcher.
Okay.
So there's an option where we trade Casale and then trade somebody else for a replacement catcher who is better. There's always that option if you want to do that.
By the way, Cardinal Fan 3000 said he's been playing these games for years and he did not know that you could do that. So you helped a good person tonight. Thank you.
That was one of the things that I loved when I found it. I was like, this saves me hours because I used to go through every single player, look at their profile, think if I wanted them, and then be like, okay, I'll offer this one person an extension. Go to the next person, do the same thing. Take me hours to do all of my players. Because I had, once you get into a couple years into your franchise, you've got like 50 free agents potentially. And you're just kind of like, okay, I'm just going to group them up into like, okay, these are my 2.5 stars, my 2 stars. Anyone at 1 star below, I'm just dumping automatically because it's just, I don't have time.
By the way, the Wade Miley deal, the real life Wade Miley deal, was a 2-year, $15 million contract.
Which is a little bit expensive, if I remember correctly.
They must really want him.
Well, his statistics don't exactly, they weren't that bad from last year. He had the sub-4 ERA, even though he played for the Astros for the full season, so that wins and loss isn't exactly very correct. I can't say that his 14 wins and 6 losses were exactly his doing, but he did have a 1.34 WHIP, and I think he had like a 2 or 3 WAR season, so he actually didn't do that bad. He's worth about $10 million to $15 million if you want to give him that. Now, do I think he's worth that in our game? Absolutely not.
Understood.
No.
All right, so what do we do here? Do we do something right here, right now, or do we go make some trades first? And then
we can leave the screen. They'll go ahead and answer our contract extension in a couple days, probably 1 or 2. But we don't want to simulate any more time yet. Right. We want to go to our next point of requirements. So we've checked off the expiring minor league players' extensions.
Yep.
We've checked off the arbitration list.
Yep.
Let's do a pre-free agent dumpster dive real fast. I want to show off what I mean when I say that. So if you go to MLB and you go to transactions and you go to the free agency tab.
All right. I'm on my way.
So when I say a dumpster dive, it's really more of a diamond in the rough kind of situation. What we're looking for, and we'll want to sort it by potential rating.
Okay.
What we're looking for are players who are probably 2.5 stars or higher, and they want just a minor league contract, which means that their demand is blank. If their demand is blank, we can sign them for free and nobody's going to care. And a 2.5 star prospect is nothing to shrug at. In fact, I've had a couple people that I've signed who are 2.5 stars who, because I had really good minor league coaching staffs, actually became 3 to 3.5 star prospects by the time they actually hit the majors and actually played.
Nice.
So we can look at this list. I don't see that many. Only people I really see is Riley Odison and is that who is that? That's Graham Spraker, I believe, are the only 2 people on that list besides maybe Nathan Witt.
Yep.
Those 3 I would offer minor league contracts to right now because that'll sign them through next year. And they're all mostly young. Nathan's 23 and at a 2.5 star potential, that's pretty good. If you click on their profiles and even view them, they're not terrible. Some are terrible. Some are just our scouts just blowing them out of the water, and it's not a good option for us. But some are actually pretty good. Like to the point where, like Nathan Witt here, his stamina's a bit low, but if he develops that a little bit, he's extreme fly ball. That's not good. But his stuff could actually develop pretty quickly. And if he can get a little more movement, he could become a 3-star pitcher, and it's comparable to some of the players we already have. So it's just a way that you can snag a quick, free prospect, basically. Great. And we want all the chances in the world. We don't want to give up anybody that could potentially become somebody down the road. So I would do that for all the people that don't want a contract. They just want to sign a minor league contract to come play.
I just did that. I did that for all 3 of those guys. Perfect.
Now, we can do that again once free agency happens, because there will be even more free agents that are flooding the market. This is just for us to snag anybody from this list before the free agency market happens, because some of these kids, once free agency happens, will start to demand major league contracts instead of these minor league contracts. So swoop in and grab these guys now, right before free agency happens, and then do the same thing after free agency. You might get yourself maybe 7 or 8 new 2.5 star pitchers. They pop into your AA or single A team, and they help out. It's just another arm.
Great.
So that's just a little bit of advice for new players. Do that, and you never know. They may become somebody important down the road, and then you'll wonder where you got them from, and you're like, oh, it was a free agency signing from 3 years ago. Wow.
Love it. That's great.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we've covered most of the early stuff that was going to take up less of the time for tonight. And I think we're ready to move on to some of the really hard stuff.
Good. Let's do that.
Okay. We need to start looking at options for trades, and that involves our arbitration players. So,
I'm getting nervous.
if you want, I already have a couple of offers that I'd like to run us by and see if you accept them.
Okay.
Okay. Let's head over to the transactions and player trade section. We are going to go to the Baltimore Orioles first.
Okay.
And the Orioles are in an interesting situation because they want prospects, but more importantly, they want someone who can play right now. And the Orioles will give us a couple of their top 100 prospects for pretty much nothing, which is really confusing, but it is a deal we can make. So we're looking to acquire from them Austin Hayes is going to be the first person on that list. He may be in the majors right now. He may not be. It just depends on whether or not he is in the majors right now. Nice.
Austin Hayes is a 24-year-old right-handed hitter with
Yes.
average contact, average power, below average eye, below average defense, but he's a 2.5-star potential, which is why you want him. Is that fair to
And
say?
if you click on his name to get into his profile, he's actually an amazing right fielder.
Okay.
So that's why we're looking at him, because we have a right field gap right now.
Right.
And technically, he would give us a right fielder if we didn't want to have Senzel move to right field. And he's got some potential in the contact. The avoid K is very nice. He could learn to walk some more, but he has decent enough power that if we wanted to replace that right field position, he's someone who would fill it quite nicely. And we could have him start in AAA if we so chose to, because he hasn't had enough major league time where he doesn't have any options left. And he's also satisfied with being a bench player. So he's a good fill. He gives us someone to work at and see if we want to keep him full time.
Okay. I think there's some ifs there, right? Like if we don't make a big trade or if we don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we don't bring on a Giancarlo Stanton or if we don't find somebody in the international free agency, that's actually one of the things that I'm crossing my fingers so hard and my toes on, is that we get some kind of a import from Asia who plays center field or right field or left field, and we can just pay them like $15 million and they solve all of our problems. Because that's what can happen. It can happen. In fact, the D-backs are trying to hope that happens in real life right now. They're looking at getting a center fielder to fill their center field gap need right now.
Okay.
I think that's Akama or something like that. There's a person they're trying to target right now. So Austin Hayes is the first person. There's going to be 3. We're also looking to pick up Ryan Mountcastle. And I think he'll probably be in AAA, unfortunately. I don't think he'll be in the majors.
Yep, he's in AAA. Another 2.5-star prospect who has some serious potential.
Yes.
Because he's got potential gap power of up to 70, home run power of 55, avoid Ks of 55, not the best eye discipline, and decent contact. Also, some good, looks like a little bit of good baseball IQ with some good stealing and base running going on there too, and average defensive potential there. All right, so he's in there.
Okay, so yeah, the only problem with Mountcastle is his defense. But the idea behind Mountcastle is that he would eventually replace first base or third base He
Okay.
most likely first base would be the idea.
How
The
did you
idea would
find
be
these
like
guys,
two.
by the way? Like, how did you hone in on the Orioles and then these guys, by the way? I'm fascinated by that.
So I think it was because I may have offered. I don't know if it was. I might have. I probably offered somebody. I shopped somebody around. I saw Hayes as a 1-for-1 deal,
Uh-huh.
and then I went into the organization, took away my player that was involved, and had the CPU make it work
Okay.
just by doing that right then. And I realized they didn't want much for Hayes. So I was like, okay, I can
Got it.
stretch. I can add on more on my side, add on more on their side, and we can make a deal that's much better for me than just doing a 1-for-1.
Got it.
Because we're going to add one more person to that list, and that is Yusniel Diaz, the top person on that AAA list.
center fielder, a 23-year-old center fielder.
Yes.
3-star potential. So now you're just really looking to rob the poor Baltimore Orioles of one of their best players who is going to be able to hit the ball. He's going to got a little pop, got some discipline, got some avoid Ks.
Yes.
Got some speed. He can play a solid right field. Boy, there's a theme with you. We really need a right fielder. And he's got a high. He puts in long hours and he's got a high work ethic. Come on.
Yeah.
What's not
and
to love
the best
about that?
part is he could be taught any outfield position
Yeah,
with
look at
60,
that.
65, 60. We could put him in left. We could
Lot of
put him in
value
center
there.
if we wanted to.
A lot of value.
And
there.
he's still in AA. So we don't have to play him right now.
Oh
we
my
could
gosh,
wait a
he's in
couple
double
years.
A? Oh, man.
So if we want to, we could try him in the majors or we could wait. And this is where the fun part comes in. So on our side of the deal, we're going to add, and this is something that you're going to have to agree on because
Okay.
this is going to get a little tricky. We're adding Phil Irvin to our trade.
Where is Phil? There you are. Our left fielder. Our
Yes.
2.5-star left fielder.
Yes.
You like Phil Irvin.
I like Phil Irvin's defense. I'm not a fan of his hitting ability, but I am a fan of his defense.
Okay. All right.
And that won't make the trade work, but if we ask them to make this work now, I'd like to see what the list looks like for you.
Okay. Oh. They want my whole... Oh, any of these players. Okay. Whew.
Yes.
I was going to say, wait, what?
They want some of the good players.
They want some of the good players. How dare they?
So, in my version of this trade, I added Aquino.
Okay.
Oh, wait. They don't actually do that for you. Oh! Okay, so this is where it's going to differ, because I was able to make the deal work with just adding Aristides Aquino.
Okay.
And that actually flew on my version of the game.
Well,
but it's not on yours. So
they won't even bother discussing it with Phil Irvin, Aristides Aquino. Won't even bother discussing.
Okay, so they're much more involved on these prospects on your version of the game than on mine. So what I was able to get away with, you're not able to. So let's see what we can do to make this work. Let's take away Mountcastle, because he's kind of the odd man out. He doesn't really have a spot on our team.
Now, they love that. They're fine with that. It's a pleasure doing business with us.
Okay, so let's see if we can take away Aquino then, and if they would accept that for just Phil Irvin.
They still will accept it for just Phil
Okay, so it's Mountcastle. Mountcastle is the person that they value the most right now, so we would have to offer them a ton to take away Mountcastle, and that's okay, because technically we really don't need Mountcastle. He's just, icing on the cake at this point.
By the way, Leo wants to know if we've threatened them with blackmail. No, we will not be doing that, sir.
No, we just threatened them with having Buck Showalter back for another year.
Ouch.
It's okay. I had him here in Arizona for a few years, too. All of us. We all got a good dose of Buck Showalter, unfortunately. I don't think Mountcastle's that important. Let's see, if we take away Irvin and don't trade Irvin, what would it take for them to make this work for Hayes and Diaz?
Well, then there's nobody, so we got
yes, so it would be one person, but we could maybe do somebody else other than Irvin. Then we could keep Irvin instead and have him play left field. So if they would be okay with There's a couple people I can think of the top of my head that they'd be okay with, but let's see if we can make this work now and see what they would require us to give them.
Irvin or Castillo or Green or Reed or Senzel or Suarez or Trammell.
Okay, so they like Irvin a lot, and it makes sense. He's good defensive. He's going to be an average hitter, but his defensive ability is going to make him very good for a lot of time. So, and there's your first glimpse at Reed. That's our best pitching prospect in the minors right now. So we're not getting rid of him, and we're not getting rid of Trammell.
Right.
So, they're being more obstinate in your version of the game than on mine. That's interesting. We could look at adding a player that's not Irvin, and then seeing if that would make the trade more easier to get away with. I would probably offer somebody like Amir Garrett or Jimmy Herget, and then try to make it work again. We're going to basically try to squeeze out however much we can get away with here without giving away too many main starters.
All right. They don't like Herget. Did you want Herget and someone else?
Not particularly.
Who was the other one you said? Garrett?
It would have been Amir Garrett. He's our only left-handed relief pitcher, but he's also really, really bad.
Well, yeah, they don't even want Herget and Garrett.
Well, it wouldn't be just those two. It has to be somebody else that finishes the deal because they want somebody pretty good. Unless it's Irvin, which I could understand us getting rid of Irvin for that. But can you try to make that work real fast and see what it would take?
It would take Castillo, Irvin, Green, Reed, Senzel, Suarez, or Trammell.
The same list. Okay.
Yep.
So they're dead set. They want Irvin if we're gonna make this work. So the question comes down to basically how much do we want Irvin in left field?
Well, you can't stand him, so I don't want him at all.
It's not that I can't stand him.
Cannot stand him. You're like, the dude can't hit, and I don't want him on the team.
He wouldn't hit. It's hard. He will hit as an average outfielder, and if he develops, he's an above-average outfielder. The problem is, if he doesn't develop, he's just another average outfielder that you can fill in with somebody else for free.
Leo suggests we throw some money their direction.
You could toss some money their direction. The problem is that none of the people that we're giving them are high contract players. Irvin's only at $500K, so it's not like as if they're going to be gaining a bunch of money. We could throw some money their way. We have $9 million in cash. But I don't think that will make a big difference for the Orioles. Although their budget space is shockingly low. That is interesting. So, I mean, if we were to offer them money, I would offer them Irvin and money, and I would add back on Mountcastle. That's what I would do. But
how much money?
It would have to be something like $4 million, and you'd have to remove Irvin first, because if it's agreeable, they won't let you add cash. It has to be something that's not agreeable, and then you can add the money in. OTP just has it be that way.
Right.
Yeah, so if you add Mountcastle back onto it, I don't even know if $4 million would be enough, to be honest.
It's not. They think we're joking.
I mean, we kind of are. This is a little bit of a lopsided deal. Because of the fact that Diaz is the number 45 prospect in MLB at this moment. Mountcastle is the number 56 prospect, and Austin Hayes is the number 92 prospect. So, yeah, we're definitely trying to steal from them, and it makes sense.
Okay, they won't even take all the cash that we have. So.
All right. Yeah, I wasn't expecting them to be able to do that, unfortunately. So we should instead then look and see if there's somebody else on their list that we could add prospect-wise. that would be a replacement to Mountcastle, because I'm pretty sure Mountcastle is what's keeping this deal from happening at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So we could try adding on someone like a Zach Lothar or Chandler Shepard and see if that makes a difference. Just hearing what they respond with would be the biggest clues, whether or not they still think it's joking.
They don't think it's joking. They say it's not a fair deal. You have to offer us some more.
For which one? For Lothar?
If we add Lothar on there, yeah. Meanwhile,
Okay.
Dave Littlefield, our guy, says, "Sorry, boss, but this deal doesn't make much sense to him either. He wants us to ask them for more."
Yeah,
but
that
I've also
is.
got $9 million in cash in here. Hold on a second. Let me get
Oh,
that out
okay.
of there.
Take that out for a split second.
Okay, they definitely cannot accept the offer now.
Okay.
But our GM is at least happy with it.
Okay, which is probably the truth because we want the money. We need the cash right now. What if we added Casali to the deal?
But I thought Casali was part of the Stanton deal that we're going to make right at the end of the stream.
Oh, whoa, we were going to blow that right now?
I don't know.
I mean,
maybe.
Stanton is going to be interesting. I highly doubt we'll be able to afford Stanton because of his contract, and the Yankees will not retain much of his contract, unfortunately.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, while I would love to get Stanton, I don't think it's in our best interest to actually make a move.
I've been thinking about this all week, and now you're popping my balloon. You're bursting my bubble. I've been thinking about having Stanton on this team, just hitting bombs out of whatever they call the Great American
I've tried
Ballpark.
that. I have actually tried that as a simulation. He hits like 230.
Ooh.
And it's like, ooh, it's just not worth the money that you have to pay him to make that work.
Casali in here. See, I was going to give Casali away for Giancarlo Stanton, but now I'm just giving him away for a bunch of guys who I've never heard of. It doesn't feel right.
It's not as good, is it?
No. And they still don't even want to do it.
Oh, they still even want to do it?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, now the Baltimore Orioles are being a bit of a pain.
Bit of a pain.
Let me think about that for a second.
Magus also suggests that Stanton would be a big albatross.
Yeah, he's a massive albatross.
You guys are smart. That's why I listen to you, right? That's why I need you guys here, because otherwise I would have pressed that. Yes, I will take Giancarlo Stanton and his enormous contract onto my team, thereby preventing me from being able to do any significant investment for the next 5 years. Thank you.
Yes, exactly. Unfortunately, he's owed $29 million for 2 years and then $32 million for 3 years. So there's no way that we could afford him, and there's no way the Yankees will retain any of that contract. I've tried. I've tried multiple different ways where they retain even just 30%, and they're like, no, we're not taking 30% of his contract. You're trying to get rid of a person who's going to bat 250. Give us some slack. No one's going to take Stanton for his full contract.
I have Cardinals fan literally all caps yelling at me, do not trade for Stanton.
Yes, he also doesn't stay healthy. That's absolutely true, actually. Okay, so the question is, are we okay with Phil Irvin for Hayes and Diaz? That's pretty much what it would come down to for this trade at this point. I don't think the Orioles are going to give us any.
Why are we making that trade? What does that do for us?
It gives us actual good prospects for outfielders. It would be part of a rebuilding program where we get people who are hopefully going to be better than what we have currently.
Okay.
And
that sounds good because that's what we're doing. I'm fine.
Yeah, it's not a bad deal. I wish we could have gotten Mountcastle involved. That would have been the cherry on top.
I can keep asking. I can keep throwing them in there. Like, come on, guys, give us those 3. And now they're like, this must be a joke. Although
it's definitely
our guy,
a joke.
Dave Littlefield, is all over it. He's like, this is great. Let's
this is
do
a great
it.
deal. Oh, yeah, let's do this. Please let them say yes. Yeah, unfortunately, they probably won't. They won't take it, unfortunately.
So what do we do? Do we do this deal or do we move on?
Let's move on and come back to this deal.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Because what you can even do is if you just remove Mountcastle from the Orioles side and then just switch from the Orioles team, it'll actually stay there as a listed trade that we could just instantly click complete, and it'll do it. So it saves our progress on this.
Right.
So let's jump to another team that we can look at doing instead, because there are other options we can look at first that could be better for us.
Okay.
So we
Good
need
point.
to head to the Phillies.
Oh, good. Right down the road.
Yeah.
What are we doing with these guys?
We want to get a couple of relief pitchers and potentially a backup catcher from them, actually.
Okay. Because you
And
are absolutely driving Casali out of town, no matter what you do. Okay,
he's
understood.
just such a great trade bait person. He just is. If we shop him around with somebody else, we can get some 3.5-star players back for him, and that's just fantastic. So for
I'm
this
with you.
trade, we're interested in picking up Luke Leftwich.
Okay. Who is that?
Luke Leftwich is a relief pitcher / closer. I believe he'll be in AAA
Okay.
or potentially AA at this point. But he's almost fully developed, or at least he's somewhat mostly developed at this point.
Oh, wait. I have potential sorted wrong. I don't see him anywhere. Luke Leftwich.
Yeah.
Let me try again.
He may be in, let's see.
I don't see him.
Ooh. Unless they already got rid of him in another deal. That's the hard part, is I actually don't know what's already happened.
Right.
In the league here. The other person involved in the deal was Trevor Betancourt, who's at the top of the AAA list.
Trevor Betancourt. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I see
he's
him.
somebody that we're interested in.
Okay.
He's a person that we can slot into our bullpen right now, and he's pretty good.
Uh-huh.
He's got a really good ground ball ability, good curveball, changeup, fastball, and he's mostly developed too. So he's someone we can just add on to a deal.
What's the guy's left name? Leftwich?
Leftwich. It's a Leftwich.
Yeah, it says he's with Major League Baseball, so I guess I just got to get back there. Where was that?
That
was Reds front office. Where was I?
If you want to, you can use the back buttons.
Yeah.
Or even the square in the middle of the back and forth button. That'll show your recently visited screens, and then you can go right back to where you left off.
Yep. All right. So it says he's on the 40-man.
Huh. Okay.
So
Sure hope they aren't waving him right now.
I don't see him though. Is it me? I don't see him.
Oh, is he injured right now?
I do not see him anywhere. I'm looking at AA here. Hold on a second. There he is. Okay, I found him.
Leftwich. Yay!
Yep, I got him. Okay.
Okay.
Eventually, he was there.
He's here someplace. Okay, so just so I can make sure that I see his ratings. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so he's a 2.5-star to 3-star potential relief pitcher. He can get up to 3.5 stars if he gets good development.
Yep.
So that's good. We can take that.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and first take a look at what would make this offer work right now, because I want to gauge how much we have to give them immediately before we dive into adding more players onto this trade.
Okay. So there's a lot. I mean, they'll take all sorts of different guys. They'll take Sonny Gray right now. They'll take Senzel right now. Suarez right now. They'll take Lodolo, a 21-year-old single-A starting pitcher.
Yeah.
Right.
Lodolo actually is a really good prospect. We will not want to be getting rid of him anytime soon, unfortunately.
Okay.
Okay, so they're asking for a lot for those two, unfortunately, which is probably going to be another situation where it's different on my version compared to yours. We need to head to... Where was he at during all this? Ugh. So we're looking for a third baseman called Reese Hines. Hinds. He should be in our rookie system, I believe.
He is.
Yeah. If we can add him to the trade.
Oh, they'll take him. He was on their list.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
Oh, he would instantly make it work. Awesome.
Yes, he would.
Okay, good. Because that's what makes this deal work, is that basically if we're keeping Suarez, Hines has really no place to go on our team, and
Okay.
he's only got arm. He's a decent hitter. He would actually be a really good hitter, but his defense would be susceptible to issues. So we want to add on more to their end, however. Grulin is a catcher on the active roster. He's like the fourth person from the top at that point. He's the backup catcher that we would be looking to add to this deal.
Okay.
And you may want to look at his abilities a little bit just to get familiar with him a little bit. He's not a great backup catcher, but his ability to play catcher is on par with Casali, but he's 24 years of age instead of 31, and there's a lot to like about that trade offer right off the bat, so we could even add on more people to the trade if we wanted to. Yeah, I like Grulin. I feel like Grulin could easily be, if he doesn't develop, he's a AAA catcher for life. If he develops, he's definitely a backup catcher for life. He's got good ability to catch. He's a good power bat. He can come off the bench if he had to. He's cheap and young, and he's pretty good at this point. So I would take him in a heartbeat. Let's see if they would add on Ranger Suarez down below on that list, near the bottom. He's a 3-star, potential 3.5-star relief pitcher. Let's see if they would offer him as well in this deal.
No, they will not.
No, okay. What would make it work if we had him on the deal? Are they asking a lot for him?
Yes, they want either Castillo, Gray, or Suarez.
Woof. Okay, so he's a no-no. So he's not somebody that we can add, unfortunately. Okay, good to know. I don't want to add anybody who has high salary. I don't want to put us in a position where we start adding on people who are old, aging veterans, because otherwise the Phillies do have McCutchen. That would be one of the people that would be interesting to think about, but I wouldn't take him with all of his money unless they retain some of it. So I'm not likely to do that. We should try to find another catcher. This is Edward Barboza.
Oh,
He
we don't
should
want
be
Grulin?
down. I'm sorry?
We don't want Grulin?
Oh, no, we want Grulin, but we'll take Grulin and we'll take a second one.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, because the Phillies have some really good defensive catchers with decent hitting abilities, and that's something that you can always have a lot of.
And what's the good fella's name?
This is a kid by the name of Edward Barboza. He's 18 years old. He's probably in their Arizona farm system. He's probably way down in the rookie system, unfortunately.
Okay. I don't know where that would be. Lakewood? Not Clearwater. Lakewood? I could just search for him. What's his last name?
Barboza. Barboza.
I could just search for him. Andrew Barboza? No. Gabriel?
Edward.
I don't see him.
This is going to be an Edward Barboza.
Barbosa?
ZA.
ZA. There we go.
Yeah. Not the Leandrino Barbosa. Remember that guy. Let's see.
Oh, jeez. BRB Barboza. I can type. I can use this game. There we go. Edward Barboza in the Gulf Coast Rookie League.
Yes. He is someone that we're interested in.
Okay. So I need to go to the Gulf Coast Rookie League.
Yeah, we're going to dig deep into the Phillies farm system for this kid. And depending on whether...
Okay, so they say not quite enough. Please add more to the offer. That's weird. That's a 4 for 1. That's Hines for 4 of their players.
Okay. Let's see what would make it work.
Oh, man. A lot of different individual players.
Okay, good. Is there a catcher on that list by the name of Hendrik Clementina?
No.
No. Okay.
No catchers, even though I'm taking 2 of theirs.
Ooh. Okay, so it is a little bit different than when I did it, because I was able to offer them Clementina, and they accepted that. So
now, I can still put him in there.
No,
right?
no, no, that's okay. Let's go ahead and offer them Matt Bowman because he's actually someone that we're interested in trading.
Okay, they
That would
like
be
it.
fine,
They want
right?
it.
Yeah, we can pull the strings on. We can pull the trigger on that one.
If you say so, I'm going to do it.
Let's do that. That's a good deal.
All right, I did it. I hit the button.
All right. Because Betancourt and Leftwich are AAA relief pitchers that if they have a good spring performance, I would not mind having them on the majors.
Okay.
They're that good. They're mostly developed. They're very good young arms, people that we can instantly slot in. And this is going to be basically replacing people like Bowman and Finnegan and all these people that we're trying to get rid of that are just too old or just really not that good.
Okay. And so the trade's been completed. Any players I received in the trade have been designated for assignment, players with minor
Yes.
league contracts, or placed in our lowest ranked minor league team. Please go to the team transaction screen and make any necessary roster moves.
Yes. And I think only Leftwich is going to be the person who is going to need any moving around because everyone else is all minor leagues.
Okay.
But we'll check that in a couple minutes when we're done with all these trades and
All right.
our moves at least.
Okay.
So we got one of the moves done at least.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel so bad about. I'm still thinking about that Baltimore deal, but we'll think about that in a second.
Okay.
Now, this brings up another offer potentially that we could look at doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The Rangers are well known for not really having much high hopes in Nick Solak. They're a second base prospect.
Mm.
We need to look and see how much it would take to pry him away from them. This would fill our second base position if we move Senzel to outfield.
Understood.
Potentially.
I'm with you.
Potentially it would. We could always find somebody better. Nick Solak's not a great prospect, but he is a young prospect that we could probably get for a really cheap amount.
Okay.
And he will be on their major league squad, I believe.
Yep, I found him. 3-star potential.
Yes. And I don't know why the Rangers are always offering me him every
single time. He plays a lot of positions too. Second, short,
He
left,
plays
center.
a lot of positions, yeah. And the problem is he's blocked by Odor, which is why they probably want to get rid of him the most.
Okay.
And yeah, he's not a bad prospect. He just needs playing time. So he's somebody that's a quad A player that we can look at getting for cheap, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to see what would make this deal work right off the bat because
I press the button and they want Castillo, Irvin, Garcia, Gray, Green, Lodolo, Reed, Senzel, Stevenson, Suarez, or Trammell.
Oh, Stevenson is actually a very interesting offer.
And
but
you hate Phil Irvin, so I know you want him off the team.
Yeah, but I wouldn't trade him for Nick Solak by himself. We could get 2 top 100 prospects for Phil Irvin. So I'd rather do that with the Orioles than get – because Solak's only prospect number 159. So he's not as important.
Got it.
So let's see if we can add let's see. Where is – add Brandon Finnegan on our side of this deal. I want to see if that makes any difference.
Okay.
It probably won't.
Where is Brandon Finnegan?
That's a good question, too. I don't think he's on the injured list.
I don't see him.
Is he in? He might be waived for he might be designated for assignment right now.
I think you're right. Oh, no, there he is. Found him. Got him.
Okay, so let's add him to the list.
Yep,
yeah, they'll definitely say must be joking.
Yep.
I'm just trying. I don't want us to give away too much for this deal if we can help it. So we won't spend too much time with the Rangers because they'll offer us Solak down the road for dirt cheap if we just don't do anything about it. Let's add Aquino to the list. That the right fielder. That probably won't make it work, but I want to see if that would lower the asking price.
We'll need to add a very good player for them to consider accepting the offer.
Okay. Try the make this work now button. What would that very good player be?
Oh, boy. Lots of choices. Barnhart, Castillo, Irvin, Garcia, Gray, Green, Lodolo, Reed, Senzel, Stevenson, Suarez, or Trammell. So the same guys.
Okay. Same people, unfortunately. Yep. So it would be much easier for us to just simply trade them Stevenson for Solak 1-for-1. Unfortunately, it would probably be better for us to offer Stevenson and Casali in a shop a player kind of deal and see what we get for them combined, because they're both highly touted. So I think we'll pass on Nick Solak. They're asking for too much for him right now, and that's fine. We can worry about that later. So let's do a couple of shop a player options to keep the ball moving at this point.
Yep.
We need to offer Stevenson as one of them, and let's do Casali as the other and see what we get for that.
I have already set that up and pressed the button. You should be very impressed with me right now.
I am very impressed with you. Our minds are in sync. That's good.
You literally just said, let's go shop Stevenson and Casali, though. So, it wasn't a long bridge to get there. So, all right. Can you see what's going on here? We got all sorts of trades from all sorts of people.
Names are coming across. I saw a couple of really good names already. That's a good sign. I think I even saw Francisco Romero from the Twins. He's an interesting prospect.
So where should I go? Should I start with the Twins?
We have a lot of good options here. Okay, anyone who's 3-star or above is borderline good prospect for us.
I mean, look at there's a 5-star Fernando Romero. That's who you're talking about?
That's who I was talking about. Now, he's technically listed as a relief pitcher, so if we take him on, he's not going to be a relief pitcher. Also, the Astros are giving away 2 of their better starters as well. I think Martez is one of them. But Fernando Romero
wait.
Oh,
we can get Joe Panic. Stop. We're going right to Joe Panic.
You know, we could probably get Joe Panic for a lot less than Stevenson and Casali. We actually could, if you wanted to.
No,
we could get Joe. He's a little expensive, though. He's got he's only $4 million.
I love the Mets. Love Joe Panic. He was a nice pickup for them this year. I'm just totally kidding.
Okay. All right. Just bluffing.
Yep.
Let's take a look at Fernando Romero really fast, just so I can explain a little bit about him.
Woo!
So, yeah, he's got a lot of
slider.
Yeah. He is such a hit and miss prospect, though. I have done so many simulations where he becomes absolutely nothing.
Really?
And then so many simulations where he becomes a really good pitcher, and it's mostly because that third pitch does not develop most of the time. And that just destroys his ability to be a starter.
Gotcha.
So that's the only problem with Romero.
Leo pointing out to me that the Yankees are banging my door down offering me Stanton.
The Yankees, oh my gosh, the Yankees will offer you Chapman, Betancourt, and Stanton for like a single A player. Please. They don't care. They just want the money gone. Like literally, you could offer them like a single A catcher who can't even catch, and they'd be like, deal. Right. just take the money, please. There, now you can worry about his $30 million a year. So going back to that list of players, the Astros have a couple of people we should look at as well. All right, I think one of them's a relief pitcher, full-on relief pitcher, but then I think Martez is the other guy.
Oh, yeah, Osuna, Martez. I mean, 24-23, 4.5-star Francis Martez.
Yeah, they're pretty young.
Oof. He's got 3 pitches, and he's got good now, and even more potential fastball, slider, and stuff. Man, there's a lot to like here. And look at the bunt. Yeah. He's got a 70 sacrifice bunt. That bunt.
Oh gosh. So that comes into the question now. Okay, so they're willing to get rid of Francis Martez for 2 average players. What could we do instead that would make it better for us? So if you go to the actions page on Martez's profile page, and go to the trade for player, which I think is transactions, I think. Nope.
Trade options, trade for player. I got it.
Yeah. On my game, Finnegan retired after the year I traded him away. That's interesting. We want to see what Martez would be worth for a 1-for-1 deal. what would make this work right now? Because if we can get by with not having to give them both Casali and Stevenson, I would do a 1-for-1 deal of Martez for Stevenson if they'd be up for that. That's basically what I'm thinking.
I don't see Stevenson.
Okay.
Oh, I do.
I'm.
They
Oh.
would. Yep, they would do Stevenson 1-for-1.
Oh gosh, they would give him for like. Oh no. We can give him Aquino. Oh yeah, absolutely give them Aquino for Martez. Oh yeah. I don't think Aquino's gonna develop into anything. So
There you go.
I would give them Aquino for Martez in a heartbeat. That's
Why
a steal.
are they doing this deal?
Mostly because they have no faith in Martez as being a starting pitcher. And while they, do value him as a 4.5-star relief pitcher, it's pretty easy to get a 4.5-star relief pitcher who's a converted starter. That's not that hard to do. Hence the reason why the Yankees are so willing to get rid of Aroldis Chapman. Now, that's mostly because he's also expensive, but starting pitchers are a lot harder to find when they have that kind of star potential than relief pitchers. If we go into, and the best way to explain that actually is if you go into Francis Marte's profile page again, if we have the ability to change his position to a starter, his stars are going to drop like crazy. So I don't know if we have that ability to do that since we're not the commissioner or not.
Where would we go? Actions?
If you go to actions, there might be a way to set position.
Nope.
No, okay.
Compare, request a scouting report, create a note, or trade options.
Okay. So, yeah, unfortunately, we can't make that move because we're not the commissioner of the league.
Right.
But if you were the commissioner and you make that deal or have that change, his star rating's going to change to reflect the fact that he's not as good of a starter as he would be as a relief pitcher. His stuff isn't going to be as good. So they're willing to make this deal because it's probably going to turn into like a 3.5-star relief or starting pitcher if we try to make him a starting pitcher. Maybe even just a 3-star starting pitcher. So he's not worth it to them anymore. He's really not.
Okay.
And he's probably at the end of his arbitration. He's beginning his arbitration years pretty soon because he's been in the majors for a year now. He's 24. They have to start paying him. So we will pay him instead because we'll take that deal in a heartbeat, and he can be another option for our massively benched and depth-filled starting rotation. So make that deal because that's makeable in a heartbeat right there.
I'm doing it. I'm saying complete trade.
Yay.
All right.
I like that deal right there. That's good.
All right. No boss, my friend. We have got to call it a stream. That's
true. We are running low on time.
We are up against it. I'm so happy that we have been able to do this. This is the most fun I've ever had working deals in Out of the Park ever because of you being here, walking me through this, and because of the great guys hanging out on the stream, interacting with us. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of wheeling and dealing.
I feel like we got a lot accomplished tonight. I feel like I really learned a little bit more about Out of the Park baseball. And I definitely learned a lot about you. And that is you know what you're talking about. Wait, no, I already knew that. I didn't learn that. I knew that.
It just reassured you that I know what I'm doing sometimes.
You are the man, Alex. All right. So we are going to leave off here-ish. Do I need to do any last-second things at all here other than hit file save, which I'm going to do?
No, that should be good.
Right now.
All we want to do is get our team in a position where we can simulate up to arbitration.
Right.
So we do have some more people to trade next stream. We have to get rid of Dietrich. We have to get rid of Casali and Peraza.
Okay.
Those are 3 people we can get rid of next time. They're all highly prized, too, so we can make some good deals with those guys.
All right.
And that'll be great. Stevenson is another person we can look at trading as well, but that will happen next time.
All right.
Otherwise, that'll be good. Then we'll be all set to go up to arbitration time and then go straight into the free agency filing, and we'll see how much money we've got to work with, and maybe we'll make a big-time free agency signing. We'll see.
Love it. Love it. Oh, I'm so excited. All right, Alex Murray, you are fantastic. Let me mention a couple of things here real quick. First of all, I want to make sure that everybody knows to go listen to the latest episode of Out of the Park Now. This week I talked with our good friend Scott Spindler. We chatted all about what was going on at the winter meetings, or the big free agency signings, the trades, the deals, the potential trades. We talked about the Rule 5 draft, and then we talked about some really significant changes that are happening in Major League Baseball next year and what that's going to mean, not only for the teams, but much more importantly, what it's going to mean for Out of the Park Baseball 21. That's what we're all really here for, right? So some big changes going on in baseball. Check out the Park Now. It came out today. Today's Tuesday, right? Yes, today is Tuesday. It came out today. The other thing I would love to talk to you about is the Kevin Kennedy Show. That comes out every Thursday. These are both podcasts, Out of the Park Now and the Kevin Kennedy Show. Every Thursday, I talk to the great Kevin Kennedy. This guy managed the Texas Rangers and the Boston Red Sox. Then he was a commentator live on Major League Baseball games for years. He works with Dodgers games now. This guy is a baseball lifer. He's fantastic, and every single week we have a great time talking to him. I hope that you guys go listen to the Kevin Kennedy Show. It's really good because he's really good. Kind of like why this stream is good, because Alex is really good. It's the same thing.
Man, putting me on level of Kevin Kennedy. I'll take that.
You get the right people and you get the right results, right? That's what
exactly. Yeah.
All right. So this has been the big rich machine now. As I said at the top, we are doing some perfect point giveaways. 10,000 perfect points to at least 3 people, or 3 randomly chosen people. If I get like 10 or 15, I can't do that, right? But we're going to get to the 3 people that send me a message on Discord saying that you would like to enter to win 10,000 perfect points. Hit me up, and I'll randomly select 3 of you to get the 10,000 perfect points. One of these days, really soon, I'm going to get the whole ticket thing integrated in here where you can do it. And that'll make it easier for everybody. I know that this definitely slants a little bit towards the guys that hit me up on Discord regularly, but that's okay. That's what we're here to do. We're a community. We're Out of the Park Baseball. We're all in this together. That's why I'm so glad that you guys are here watching tonight. I'm so glad that you are over there, Alex, participating tonight. Alex is, of course, not just a genius in Out of the Park Baseball. He also is the best customer support guy you could ever hope to work with for Out of the Park Development. So hit me up on Discord. 3 of you will get 10,000 perfect points. Alex Murray, where can people follow what other interesting things you're doing there out on the internet, sir?
Oh, gosh. I do Twitch occasionally, and you can find me here on Twitch at AZAxel. And same place for Twitter. If you have any questions, you can always DM me on Twitter. And then, of course, I'm always on the OTP Discord as well. So if you're part of that Discord, I'm almost always on all the time. So if you got questions or just want to talk about stuff, I already do that for a couple other people. We talk about baseball, OTP, just changes that we do to the game, all that good stuff. You can catch me there as well.
And don't forget, Thursday night, we're doing the playoff push for Perfect Team. I got another. I'm in a good position this year in my Perfect Team. Thursday night, it's going to be time to put myself in position to try to win. It's been a tough slog the last 2 or 3 weeks up there in the Perfect Leagues, but I got a shot this year. Got a shot. I had a shot last year. Won my division. Lost 3-1 in the divisional round. It happens. That's what happens. I get it. It's baseball. You can have the best regular season you've ever had. You can be a number 1 seed, and then you can get taken out in 4 games in the division round. It happens.
It
happens. So Thursday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here. The playoff